He's on vacation.
That's right, he still ain't back.
No, he still ain't back yet. He's up our gambling. He's coming back.
Yeah, he's still
Pretty good area.
Oh, sorry.
You might as well just hear that.
I don't blame him at all.
Well, that clock sits at 6 o'clock.
Graduating.
Y'all have to excuse me, I'm talking like I got marbles in my mouth. I just been to the dentist,
Oh, my gosh.
and it wasn't Bill over here.
You wouldn't be able to say if
shape.
it'd been
Yeah.
me, would you?
I've been laid up with it.
Yeah.
But we're here to start the budget hearings for the year ending June 30th, 2013. And this committee needs somebody to be the chairman and sort of guide everything. But the chairman doesn't have but just one vote and has no more right to discuss than anybody else. But I'm going to open the floor for any nomination for chairman.
I'll make my same old motion.
I thought we did that when we had our little budget meeting.
I don't
Did we
know
not do it?
I don't know whether we did or not, but I want to make sure that y'all want me to, or some, I don't want it
I wanted to think we did that when we had our first budget meeting before.
for that. Well, go
Before
ahead.
the meeting.
What you want?
I move we stay with what we
I'll
have.
second.
Surely you, only Bill and I will vote for me.
Well, if I second it, I'm gonna vote for
All
it.
right, all right. Motion been made and seconded by Bill and seconded by Kevin, that I would continue as chairman. I'll be glad to, but it's not easy sometimes to have to walk this tightrope, and those of you that hadn't been on this before know what I'm talking about. But it's tightrope between people wanting more on this side and less to work with on the other side. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you for your confidence. And Mike needs to go in a little bit, but we're going to let him make an opening statement. And
Well, I asked Mark, could I say something real quickly? I got a granddaughter graduating church preschool, so if I don't go, I'll be in the doghouse. So that's where I'm headed, but tonight you're probably going to cover revenues, and I won't be of any help because we've already got that estimated and it's all down there. But I would like to, next Thursday night is the sports banquet, and a lot of people are going to that. So this is one item I'd like for you to consider. If you're going to meet next week, maybe meet Tuesday night, because I know of some people that won't be able to be here because of the sports banquet. But that's just for y'all's consideration. And on the budget, if you'll flip over to the very last page, now keep in mind, we're just starting, and did you give them a copy of last year's budget?
No.
Diane's provided a copy of.
That's last year's original budget, so you can compare.
I brought mine with me.
Okay. Now, what you have.
is that last year's
Yes.
budget that we,
This is the one we started with last year?
One that was
Yeah.
approved, yeah.
that we
final.
approved?
This is the final budget.
The final.
Last year.
Okay.
Yeah. And the reason we thought we'd do that this year, a lot of times, I know it's confusing. You look at this 11, 12, and this one here that we're working on tonight, it's estimated. That is what was actually budgeted. So you can, any budget amendments will be under the 11 and 12 in this one, where that one it won't be. So if you want to know, well, so-and-so line item was right here, contributions, 39,000. What we spent, 39,000, or say 40, you want to go back and see what was actually budgeted before any budget amendments. So that's the purpose of that. Keep in mind, 10 and 11 is actual, 11 and 12 is estimated, the year we're about to finish. 12 and 13 is a wish list, is what I call it. That includes every request for extra money and everything. So if you look at the bottom, last year we finished, go all the way to 10 and 11, we finished last year with a fund balance of $651,870. Now, we're building a tower at Pleasant Ridge, and I've paid out 45 or 47.
45.
So if you skip over to 11 and 12, you'll see the fund balance at 201. So keep this in your mind. We don't have it back yet, but I've got 45,000 out that will go back in there. So actually, the fund balance there will be, once we receive payment from the state, will be at 45,000 added to that. So you're nearly 250. But even with that, you dip. And another thing, Diane estimated all this next 2 months of spending all the money that people have in their budgets. There'll be departments that won't spend it all, so your number is going to improve there also. We'll know that at the end of the year. So we're showing 450,000 dipping into fund balance this year. It won't be that much. Like I said, nearly 50 comes off of that plus, but it's fair to say it'd be 300,000, maybe more. So that means over here, with the wish list, I call it, we're looking at 701,000 in the red. Well, last year, when we started this procedure, we was over $1 million. So that's encouraging. We're 300,000 or 400,000 better off this year than we were last year to closing the gap. The problem is, and I started not to say anything, let you figure it out, but the problem is we're being advised by people, and they really don't understand what's out there and what's coming back and all, and we're going to wind up dipping into fund balance at least 300,000 this year, I'm speaking of. So to maintain this year's level of spending, that means we'd have to dip into it another 300,000 next year, and that would probably totally wipe it out, if not go over what we have. So I just want y'all to keep that in mind. And these figures will change between now and June 30th. It'll look better than it does right now, because you're going to cut some stuff out that, quite frankly, they probably don't have any idea of getting it funded anyway. But keep in mind, last year we had, when I first come into office, 2002, we got down to $1,300 in fund balance. We was about to have to borrow money to make the payroll. The first budget that we had was a 52 or 3 cent increase just to break even and build up a little fund balance. Well, we had quite a bit of growth, and everybody watched their spending, and we wound up 1.4 million was the high point. That's the largest fund balance we've ever had. Last year we were down to 651,000, so about over half of it was gone. This year, nearly all of that's going to be gone. So we need to keep a fund balance, whatever we have to do, whether it's cuts, increases, or a little of both. I don't know. That's y'all's decision, but we need to keep some fund balance. Anybody got any questions? If not, I'll head to the graduation. And the revenues, you estimated them fairly conservative. So, but our revenues were estimated conservatively last year, and it's a good thing we did, because our revenues weren't as good as we had hoped they would be. They were down from what we thought they would be. Now, they're close to what we estimated, but we estimate conservative with the hopes that they'll be a little better than that, and that'll build a fund balance. Well, last year wasn't. And I don't know if this year will be any better or not. It's hard to tell. Thank you, Mark, for that. Thank you. Just let Diane know when the next
We
meeting
will, and
is.
we'll have your list of people that come forward next week.
And we'll contact them and have them here.
Get over here, sign.
If you want to,
Here.
plan on all of mine next week. And
Okay, plus 1 or 2 more.
whoever else you want.
And if anybody asks any questions, the media knows this, but anybody else wants to ask questions about this, this is a draft copy that we've got right here. Keep that in mind. You know, it's not to be taken as the final by any means.
It won't be.
Never has
Never
been.
are.
Never has been. It's just it's a working budget, and each.
I think we wound up
Or
with, last
few
year, I think
weeks.
we wound up with 6
Yeah.
different copies of it before it was over with. I've got a stack of them at home, I think.
And sometimes Diane has the date on one of these papers of what week it is for this past year's budget, so we'll know how we're working on that. The revenues, though, are pretty well cut and dried. We know about the revenue for this past year.
Yeah, and it's not as good as we thought, so.
All right. Property taxes on page 8 then. Looking on the last line over here on 12 and 13. They've estimated that it will go up by about 18,000, a little less than $18,000, right?
Yeah, and if you'll, that 190,000 that you see down there, that is also part of property taxes, but the trustee's office, now that they're on computers, that's where the utilities pay their taxes, and they're separating it out. So if you add the 190 to that top number, that's the total property taxes. And I could go back and just put it up there, but they separated it, so I separated it
Okay.
too.
This,
Yeah, yeah,
162.
yeah,
What page on 8?
8.
yeah.
2.49.
And that's calculated, you know, exactly what a penny brings. And
And the utilities are paying at a, is it 55%?
I don't know the percent that they pay.
55, yes. Any questions, anyone? You've also got your prior year local option sales tax.
And the way I figure these is I take what months I have, and then I go back to last year's, like from May and June, I went back to see what we got last year. So that's why it's not always, you know, just as close as we can get it.
Litigation. Any comment on that, Diane? It's holding pretty steady.
It's lower than 10-11.
Yeah.
That sales tax was more, so I don't know why that's lower this year, but it is.
And then the special purpose litigation for the jail. That's for the jail. That's line item 260. Goes straight to the improvements. Isn't that right, Darrell? Yeah. But pays for them. They've already been done.
Right. Well, they're not done. We're still working on some of it. We've got the roof on. We're supposed to start the security part of it.
Okay. And then business tax. Estimating it to go up slightly. A little less than about 8%. What about, Donald, you got any comment about that?
About the business tax?
Yes. Any question, anybody?
And that might, like right now, the actual on that's 27,000.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of estimating that will
We're
be-
gonna have to, does it come in monthly?
I think so. I'll have to ask Wayne about that.
Bank tax, 4320. Beer tax, you see it has been trending down since Woodbury changed their laws. Any question? And then telecommunications. Why don't we get any more than that from that? I mean, do you know, Don?
No, but we, on that utility, like AT&T, that's come through a utility. I guess that was when that 190,000 we get from utility, like from electric companies
Yeah.
and, you know.
That's not a cell phone tax, is it?
I'll have to ask Wayne.
Okay,
He's not here, no.
okay.
I'll ask him what that is. I don't always know what all these are, but.
Total local, 3,093,319.
Where's the Short Mountain Distillery money come from, or show up?
I'll have to find that out too.
Is any of it come in yet?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
No, it wouldn't have had.
But we
Well,
should
yeah.
estimate some of it for this year.
Because they open in March, so they'd be,
Should have some sales tax.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, should be in
shouldn't it?
there.
Yeah.
It'll just be in the regular sales tax on it.
that's what I didn't know. Is there a I know that you got the sales tax, but is there a liquor tax
There
that
is
we're getting in
there
out
is
of
some
it?
Yeah.
kind of alcoholic beverage tax.
Yeah, we have alcoholic beverage. Actually, there's two for those, like alcoholic beverage and then beer, I think they're separate.
It's over here.
I didn't put jump the gun, I just was curious where it was ahead, since that was new since last year.
Yeah, it is new, and we need to,
Be interesting to see how much it brings in.
But the state gets theirs.
Oh, on
Guaranteed.
page 10, there's a beer tax and an alcoholic beverage tax.
okay. There you go. Okay, continuing on page 8. Licenses, marriage and beer, estimated to stay the same. Fines, penalties, I'm down on 4,200. Circuit court, we're estimating 5,000 in fines. DUI 500. The data entry fee 250, and courtroom security 25. And you see the lines from last year's revenue. General sessions 26,000 for fines. Officers 9,900. DUI there is 2,200. Data entry 2,400, and security fee 400. Jail fees for the juvenile court 1,350. Victim assistance 500. Now, does that is that 500? Is it going
Save.
to save, right? And the commissioners, remember, voted to let save have that assessment there. Everybody remembers that, yeah.
Are those estimates so much lower because people ain't paying their fines, or is that?
Yeah, I guess so, because that whole section there is like 15,000 lower than what we budgeted
We're
last
getting
year.
better citizens.
Well, no, we'll just get people's not paying, but one thing that the state has passed, it's not gonna help us this year, but starting July the 2nd of this year, everything that they're convicted of, they have 1 year to pay their fines, the county litigation tax, and court costs. They can apply for a one-time extension of 180 days, so that's gonna give them about 18 months to get that paid. If not, they're gonna start revoking their driver's license. Either you're gonna pay or you're gonna lose your driver's license.
What happens now?
Nothing. They violate probation, they throw them over here in Darrell's jail and overpopulate it, and then they turn them loose.
We get to pay for them again.
And there's plenty of people, you look at the paper, that get pulled over for no license.
I have talked to the DA and the judge, and me and Darrell have even discussed this. On this probation, we asked them on the third offense, violation of probation, to make their bond the amount in cash they owe in fines and court costs. Because the law says we have to afford them a bond, not a bondsman. And trust me, Darrell knows, you put a cash bond, they're gonna get out of jail. They're not gonna sit there. They'll pay it.
They got one person sitting there on a cash bond right now, that's child support, he's like.
Well, you ought to be sitting there and if you want to pay his child support.
Comes up like cash for that.
Pay mine. You ought to pay his.
They don't work, but they got money to get out of jail.
Yeah. They can find it for that.
Mhm.
Any other comments? On to page 9. Chancery Court. Officers 800, entry fee 400, and then other courts in county. Refresh my memory, what is the other courts that are in the county?
I don't know where this money.
We went over Chancery, Juvenile, General Sessions, and Circuit. Is there still a Woodbury City Court?
Yeah, but it don't, none of that come up here.
And that don't come here. I
That
mean,
goes in that big
Well, I mean,
hole up yonder.
Oh, that's land, what that is.
but
You got your circuit. Yeah, you got a circuit.
is it
Tina probably
civil?
knows what it is.
What is
Traffic court or something? So that would all come under general session.
Horses and stuff like that.
Most of them are done in
Chancery
circuit.
or
Circuit.
through circuit. I don't know what that would be. No idea.
Okay. So I'm not the only one that's...
Circuit.
I'll find
I
out.
need to know that.
I'll find out tonight.
All right. Total fines and penalties is $53,625. Now look over here at the 10 and 11 actual. 85,000. Estimated on the next one, 50, about the same as we are running now.
And we budgeted 69.4 last year.
All right, yes, look to your other page of that, and I thank you, Diane, for getting us the other, what we passed last year.
Page 8.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, it's the bottom of page 8. When we started working on the budget that we're under now, we estimated 69, and we're thinking about 53 for next year.
And this year's could go up some, it just depends on what comes in May and June, so.
All right,
There's $14,000 just out of 2 lines right there. In the circuit court and the general sessions court. That's why that's fell so much.
any other comments on the courts and stuff? All right, continuing on page 9. Charges for current services, 43,100. Patient charges, this is where ambulance service gets reimbursed. $420,000 is our estimate. Other general charges, that's for the community center, $6,200. That the community center puts back into the general fund. The things that they charge for down there. Service charges, $1,200.
And that is where the 4-H office turns in money for their use of their kitchen.
Okay.
That's where we put that.
That's the kitchen that was remodeled in the basement of the where the extension service is. Fees, copy fees, $400. Library revenues, $45,970. Telephone commissions, $28,000. Data processing register, $4,000. Sheriff, $1,300, and sexual offender, $2,000. And then the service fees for the people that pay something to reach on a sliding scale is estimated to be $25,000. Total for all of these things, including the big item there is the patient charges from back to the ambulance, $534,070. About like we estimated last year, but lower than the year before. Any questions on that big section? All right. $44,000. Other local revenues. Investment income, that's the interest, right, on any money that the county has.
That's way down, and Wayne said nothing, it's just not drawing anything.
That's right. Interest is low right now. Leases and rentals, $29,400. What is that?
That is the Braidable Post Office,
Yeah.
Head Start,
Don't remind
and
me.
UCHRA.
I wish I'd have bought that. Don't you wish you'd been sitting here that day to buy that?
I know it.
Braidable Post Office, what else now?
UCHRA and Head Start.
Okay.
That's their rent.
Commissary sales, this is it. Darrell, is that satisfactory to you the way that you're doing the commissary?
Oh, yeah, it's saving us a whole lot of headaches.
Yeah.
And keeping comptrollers off my back.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't
And
think-
keeping bad stuff out of the jail.
Exactly.
Do you have any comments about it, Kevin Moonham? $1,200. Have you got your prices high enough?
Well, I cut out a lot of stuff that they used to get. that the fire marshal and the jail inspector said shouldn't have been in that place to start with.
Mm-hmm.
And they claim they're losing weight. They want food on there I don't allow to have, because if taxpayers feeds them 3 times a day, everyone gaining weight, they ain't one of them losing. And
Back off a little then.
Miss Martha puts enough grease in there. But it's working great. I'm keeping a lot of problems out. Jail inspector was proud of that, but he'll be back June the 4th, and I'd like to welcome all y'all to be there June the 4th if you can. But he said he would love to talk to you and what we need to plan for in the future in that jail. We're double capacity is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And he's frowning on us pretty heavy.
Underneath that is a sale of gasoline, estimated at 10,000. Same thing we estimated last year.
What is that? Is that where we,
Sell gas to,
The school board, the city, but the city's not buying much anymore. They're going to the
but the
co-op.
school board still is.
School board and the housing authority. So we just send them a bill.
so we buy it, put it in a tank, and they buy it out of the tank?
No, well, they just, we keep
Why don't we just
track
get them a
of it.
card
Keep their
like,
tank.
like the,
Oh, is that the tank over at the rescue squad?
Mm-hmm. Does the rescue squad, do they buy gas off of us?
They use it, but we don't, I mean, the county just pays for theirs.
Just pound, they don't even have
It's like
to
the fire
count.
departments, that's where they get their gas
Yeah.
from.
Some of them go to the co-op. I guess they have to get diesel. at the
Diesel,
co-op.
we get it at
Yeah.
the co-op, yeah.
Yeah, because we only handle gasoline,
Right.
right?
why don't we do away with that,
I think we should.
Just give everybody a
A
card.
card, yeah.
where you can track it?
That way you know who's getting it.
You know
Yeah.
who is,
It's so much easier since we went to it. I can tell you everybody's gas. I know
if he can keep up with all their gas, we can
Well,
keep,
yeah, it'll be
I don't know why
fine.
we're
I've
doing
got a
that.
great bunch. They've
Oh, they-
been doing great with it. We cut down on repairs.
The time it was started, it was a good thing, but gas, the way gasoline is sold is different now. The margin on it is so tiny now, and those cards, they don't get charged the sales tax anyhow, I mean, the tax on it, road tax.
We get reimbursed every quarter.
You get reimbursed, okay, you get charged but
You get federal
reimbursed.
tax and you get state tax back.
Right,
Okay.
because when you're paying.
Technology has passed us by on that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're paying $2,000 a month and you get that one bill comes in, it ain't but $800, you're like, woo-hoo.
Yeah, I think it would be you're more accountable for who's,
I do too.
getting it.
Because when that monthly bill comes in, it shows exactly who got gas and how much they got.
That would quieten a lot of it would shut down a lot of the rumor mills about people getting gas and shouldn't be getting gas and driving places they ought not be driving with the county's gas. You know what they were doing, you know.
Is there any downside to that you know of from your perspective as the a bookkeeper?
No, because now, I mean, Mike has to go over there and read the pumps, and then we have to send a bill out to those 3, and then, well, we send out a monthly bill to, well, quarterly really, to the 3, like Housing Authority and Board and all those, and then the others, when they bring a load, he goes over there and reads it, and that's how we know how we bill everybody else.
And does it have something on it where you know how do you know what to bill everybody?
They have, like I know, I'm trying to think of somebody, well, like usually the sheriff's department, we knew who had those keys, or we kind of knew.
But I mean, if
So-
the,
If
Well,
the housing
we do
authority
it,
has
for
a
instance,
key.
the fire department. If I take the truck down there and fill it up, I write down how much I got and take it, and then they turn it into Mike, I think once a month or something like that.
Honor
No.
system.
Nobody turns it in.
it's an honor system.
Yeah, that's basically, it's just,
Well, I mean, I write down up there and tell them at
Now,
the
they
fire
ma-
hall
maybe
how
they
much
keep up with
I
it,
get,
yeah.
and I think Mike, I don't know if he tells, I don't know if Underhill tells Mike down here what we got or what, but
he
anyway.
might, I don't know. But,
So you really don't know who's getting what.
It would take also a liability off the county, really, to have
Yeah.
that tank removed.
because he was gonna have like new keys made and have all that rekeyed, and it was gonna cost like $10,000 to do it, so we never did it, but,
And then when the day comes that the co-op has to replace a pump, they've just got that much more revenue coming from that and generated by their gasoline there. It helps them to.
Can the commission do that? We could change that, can't we?
Well, yeah, we could change it whenever we want to say we're going to discontinue it at a certain date and vote on it.
Darrell already knows how to handle the cards and everything.
Yeah.
He can help us make sure we get all that going.
See, a year ago, was it a year ago we?
Y'all do that too, don't you?
Yeah.
See, we got two that know how to do it. We need
Well,
to-
Woodbury'd been doing it before the county's doing it.
Yeah, we've been doing it probably 2 years now.
Ambulance service is already
And
doing it.
I think, the ambulance service, because they run diesel, see, they were already over to co-op all the time.
Right.
And they can go after hours.
Yes.
Anytime.
Anytime.
Of course. Now, we went one step further, I don't know whether the city does it or not, but we've got an agreement with the Quick Shop. They've had co-op 2 or 3 different lightning storms hit and knocked their pumps out. We go to the Quick Shop, they give us a receipt right there on it, and Ms. Hill will pay it back to the Quick Shop. We don't get the taxes knocked off like we do with the co-op.
But that's just for the emergency.
That's for emergencies only.
We do that, but you get the bare minimum to get you by till the co-op comes back up.
Yes, yeah. You don't go up there
And you
fill
don't,
a
and you don't
tank
put
up.
93 octane in it.
Well, I think that would be a good move
Well,
on the
can we not
Yes.
do that? Can we not let them bid on it?
The only other place around here I think that took a card was Parsley's Market. Didn't they take a card, or you could do something like that? But I can't send my guys to Parsley's Market.
No. why not?
Well, right now,
Y'all can, but
You can't get the taxes knocked off,
Yeah.
either.
the co-op can take the
The
taxes
co-op
off.
takes the taxes off.
Well, they're set up to
They
take off.
lose.
oh, and a regular station can't do that?
Well, the Quick Shop wanted to go with cards for us, but they couldn't do the federal and state tax on this card. The co-op can.
It's probably because they're already handling untaxed fuel anyhow.
Right.
Right. And they'll give you what looks like a credit card, got a co-op on it.
Yep.
And that card
Got
is
one in my pocket.
designated, each officer
Let me borrow it.
badge number is designated to that card, so I know who's getting what, and I make them write it down on the daily activity sheets. So I got 2 ways of,
When you get your statement or whatever at the end of the month, does it show that card on there, how much?
Oh,
Yeah, that's what we need.
It's really nice too, because the
Yeah.
ambulance
Shows
service
the
has their
number
own
of the card.
statement.
it shows.
He's got his
That
own, and I'm
number.
fixing to
Yeah.
put the fire department on
You
their
got two
very
numbers,
own,
you got
because they're
one
now
number.
mixed in with like the
Get it
convenience
under.
center.
And you got the
But
badge
I talked to
number.
Michael Underhill, and we're gonna set them up separately, and it'll just be,
Right.
We need to fix that at the next meeting, that way.
That's fine.
That way she can, while she's working on it.
and we just got a load of gas like a week or so ago, so I guess we'll have to run that out first. But,
Yeah.
How much does it usually take to run a tank out?
well, I don't know how many gallons, but I think the bill was like $9,000.
He's talking about months.
Yeah, how
Oh,
long
how
does
many
it take?
months?
Yeah.
Oh, now it lasts for quite a
I'm
while.
gonna say once
6
everybody
months.
once the word gets out that they ain't gonna be able to get it out there no more, it'll go pretty quick. Mark shaking his head.
Kind of suck in slow, and then I call him.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding,
I'd
Mark.
say 4 months
Not really.
anyway. I can't, it's been a while since we've gotten it, so.
So we'd have time
It'll
to
hold up until we
Yeah.
can get it fixed.
get everybody notified and get their cards.
I think it'd be a good move.
I think we should, do that at the next commissioners meeting, just get out of the gas business. Because it's worked well for these others.
It's working great.
Yeah. Okay.
I can justify where a bit of it's going.
Miscellaneous refunds. $8,000. Why is that so much lower than
Well,
40? We had something in there last year that refunded.
and probably, I've got to go through those and make sure that those don't go on another line somewhere, that 40.
Okay.
It's just kind of if you don't know where else to put it, that's where we put it.
Okay. Because the year before was 6,100.
Yeah.
Non-reoccurring items. Damages recovered, estimating $1,000. And then the contributions from Jim Cummings' estate, $12,000 is our estimate.
And I actually have not heard from them. Usually by this time this year, we already have the money, and I don't know, I don't know how much we're getting, so that could change. I just put that in there as a guess.
Okay. Was it actually 29,000 last year?
Yeah, they got they got a lot more last year, and we're supposed to get some more. Herb also takes care of that, and he said they were supposed to be getting some more, but we haven't gotten it yet. So I think he and Mike have a meeting coming up with them, so maybe we'll know pretty shortly how much that's going to be. But it went to the senior center. I mean, they got it, so.
Okay. Total other revenues, 81,600. Next, we go to the fees. Circuit Court, 350. General Sessions Court Clerk, 5,000. And then fees in lieu of salary. Now, for the benefit of those that are new on the Budget Committee, explain that, Diane. In lieu of salary. Or Donald, whoever can explain it. I don't remember how to explain it.
Well, I know, like, just the trustee, that's just what he turns that over back to the county. I'm not sure, I guess, I'm not really sure about the others, how theirs come in, where it comes from, but I can find that out.
The trustee's office, I understand why it's 189,000 because it's a fee office.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's not a fee office. That's why. It's not a fee
Not
office
now.
anymore.
It
Yeah,
always
it
was.
was. Didn't Wayne Prater go to be not being a fee office?
Yeah, well, yeah, because we pay, I really don't know how all that works. I'll have to.
I should have written it down, but I don't remember it. All this $380,000 here.
I'll find out
Explain
for you.
about, give us
Okay.
an explanation. Because there's some in every single office.
Yeah, you got the sheriff here at 8,800.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
I have no idea.
You want me to ask?
Well, hey,
But I don't know how they figured.
well, it's,
That's a question, Wayne Park. They get a fee each month out of my budget. Every time we turn stuff in, they get a fee, but I don't know how that goes. And I don't know where that applies to that.
I heard it explained once, and I don't think it even was a year ago, but
I did too, but I don't remember what it was.
I think they talked about it in the budget meeting.
Except Doug knows how, he might explain it.
Yeah, he would know.
Wayne Park,
see.
I can't.
okay. Continue on revenue, the state of Tennessee. Grant for juvenile services, $9,000. The health department, $46,200. Why is that up from last year?
Well, that's just what we used to budget 121,000, because that's what the grant was for, but this year it's gonna be 46. And I'm just estimating that we're gonna spend the 30. The grant was actually for 121, and we're spending 30 out of it, so it's just all we need of it. But then this year, the grants for 46 too.
How long will that grant just lay there until you?
The 121?
Yeah.
No. I mean, that ends in June, and then this new one.
So we're gonna
Starts.
we're gonna lose that.
Well, we
90?
never have used all that. I don't know, every year it's been 121, that's for at the health
And
department.
this time it's going back to 46.
Mhm. I guess it's just because we haven't used it.
And that's all you can use it for, is just the health department.
Mhm.
We need to figure out how to get some of these other lines in under the health department. Squeeze them in there.
All right. Any other questions on that? If you look back on page 10 of your other one, you see the 121 there.
Mhm.
But the year before that, it was,
Well, that was because that was actual.
yeah, the
Those are
only
actual.
actual we have is a 23,000, see? And now your actual on 1011 is 32. So we managed to spend about 10,000 more in there, but a lot less than 121. I guess the state of Tennessee would be glad for every county to not spend every dime that was available.
I just wonder if that's what the case is and the reason it's cut so low this year, going to 46,000 versus 120. Wonder what their parameters are and how they can use that money within the health department.
And they got so many titles to programs, I can't keep up with it. It's, I don't know, Joyce would know. Joyce,
Well, that little Melissa that you know works, she only works like 1 day a week.
yeah.
And
And they
so
have
that-
people that float in and out from other areas that just drop in for a day or two. And I think part of that's paid from it, that they're state employees that are reimbursed for coming to.
I mean, for another, when you got another 80,000 in this calendar year, I mean, can they do that for, you might want to show up for pap smears, for mammograms, for whatever, just, it wouldn't, they gotta have some limits to,
Yeah.
parameters.
That
how they
falls
have-
into a different
Yeah.
program. I think, and this maybe is for, see, there's a lot of people that move in and out of the health department from other agencies. You have physicians that come there, they're in Cannon, but somebody has to pay.
and this is for the dental program too, so.
Yeah. See, my base is Warren, but I come to Cannon.
How many days a week are you here?
Warren.
One. How many in Warren?
3. So I could charge mileage from driving down from Manchester Highway to.
It's probably pretty difficult to spend it, I'd say, is the reason.
Yeah, it is.
That they haven't been spending it.
Yeah. I think that's what covers the people that come in and out from other agencies.
Any other comments on that? Ricky, we went over we're going over the revenue right now, and we've estimated 420,000 in patient charges. Do you think that since we got this other guy doing company, doing bookkeeping, that 420 is still a good estimate? The actual in 10 and 11 was 429. A year ago, we talked about getting our reimbursement from Medicare up from what it was. Is there any progress been made on that front?
I think, mainly we talked about the mileage charge.
Yeah, that's what the mileage charge. Yeah.
Urban, so we lose about almost $2 a mile on the mileage charge, just because we consider urban. I think Mike has contacted Diane Black, tried to get some help, but I hadn't heard anymore.
Okay.
I don't think anything.
Well, she was in town last week, and I spoke with her, but I did not think about that at all. And she, in fact, she met here in the courthouse and we should have had that on the agenda to talk to her about that again.
Yeah, we talked to her then, and she was supposed to, it was something that had to go through the federal government.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
She was gonna have to go
that's
through
why
something.
she's the one to talk
I think
to.
she actually, I think she
She
actually
may
wound
have
up telling us that they couldn't do nothing about it.
Do you remember, Donald,
What's that?
about the mileage charge for reimbursement? I'll ask Mike about that and see what, I think you're right, Kevin, that
I wanna
there's
think
nothing that Medicare would do about it.
I talked to that lady that answers the phone when you call her office,
Beth?
Beth. And the last time I talked to her, I wound up hanging up, my lip pooched out, because it looked like it just wasn't going to change it. Those fees in lieu of salary, all of that is our fees besides the fines. Like I asked Tina what that is.
Okay.
There's like a $9 fee for this and a $8 fee for that, and like some of it's like the litigation. I don't know if litigation tax is one of them, but it's like a litigation tax. There's different fees. I don't know where the that one's pretty big.
Yeah, but
know,
that's the biggest,
I
that's
don't
the
know
one
where that
office that the
fee-
most money comes through, you see.
Right, and a $10 fee on everything that goes through there would turn into a lot of
A
money.
whole lot. All right, next is the litter program, 46,430. We apply for that every year, and it's worked well. Are you satisfied with it, Darrell?
I'm holding breathing.
How do you work that? Do you,
Russell,
I know right now, you know, Russell's the one that does it now. I mean, do you give, you okay the ones that get to work with him?
right.
Do you tell them to do that, or do they get to volunteer, or?
The inmates,
Yes.
I handpick the ones that can be trusted to leave the premises of it. Everybody can't just up and leave. DUIs, most of the DUIs, driving on revolts, worthless checks. I have got a couple that meth charges that are out there working, but they're working, they've straightened up. But I had a little trouble with them on start till I stopped them from working at the dump. I've caught a lot of grief over that, but as long as I'm sure if they're not going back to that dump unless I've got control of the people that work at there. But I'm not gonna ask you to do that.
Yeah, I understand that.
I've stopped a lot of headaches at that jail since I've stopped them from working at that dump.
And that's not like going out here and picking up litter because they don't know where they're gonna be.
Right.
Them will be at Reedville today, and then just come up here and eat dinner and then be out.
The next morning.
That's right.
And I'm liable to call him, because I'll get a phone call. I could tell him somewhere that somebody's wanting stuff picked up or something. I may call him and say, hey, I got a phone call, somebody's throwing a whole truckload of garbage out on a certain road. They'll go get it before they even go anywhere else. I mean, they don't even know from that evening where they're going back to after lunch, because I told him, I said, I don't want nobody knowing where these prisoners are going to be.
That's right. And that makes it work good.
It works
Then
great.
we get the litter picked up, we get the money from the state, and it's a win-win.
It is.
I just thought of something before you get started.
Okay.
On that fees in lieu, if each one of those departments in that has that, when we ask them when they come to us to bring a breakdown of what that is, and then we'll know what that 189,000, if that's just one fee that adds up to that, or
Okay.
each one of them ought to be able to
Okay,
come up with that.
that's fine. You got that down? Other state income tax, revenues, income tax. Tennessee does have an income tax now. You know, there was a big fight about that a few years ago, but they do have an income tax. And it's called the Hall income tax, and it's on dividends and something else. But if you had stock that you sold and got a dividend, or you held and got a dividend paid, you'd have to pay the Hall income tax on that.
Yep.
And the trustees' office says they never know how much that's gonna be, ever. So that's just
No.
a guess.
And this time we're estimating it at $10,000. And I think there was a push to eliminate it.
There has been.
Did it pass?
Not this year, not this year.
Okay. But it wouldn't hurt us but 10,000, and those people might, most of them are older people, they might spend that money here in the county.
I think as the Brentwoods and those areas were talking about how bad that would hurt those areas. But,
All right, beer tax, 19,000. And that's held pretty steady along.
Yeah,
Back.
it's already brought in 18,421 this year, so.
Okay. Alcoholic beverage tax, that's where that one is, and we're estimating it at 26,000.
that wouldn't be the distillery, because we wouldn't have had it.
Exactly.
There wouldn't be any history, so I just wonder what that is.
It may be adding to it, though. They may have
But
all the
but we don't
alcoholic
sell-
beverage.
But we don't sell anything besides beer.
That's right. But they may,
There's
it
one
just
of them a
says
state tax,
beer
the
is
other
an
one a
alcoholic
federal tax.
beverage, and also,
Or one of them like a
what they're
county
gonna be
tax.
selling is their,
Oh,
It's one of them like a portion that we get off a federal tax or something, and the
I
other
think
one's
I
a
asked
county
that
tax.
last year, and I don't
Could be
remember what they
something
told me.
like
It's estimated at 26,000. Contracted prisoner boarding, we're estimating 150,000.
And I called Tammy and asked her if she thought that was a pretty good estimate on that, so. She said,
It's probably gonna be a little higher than that, because they're fixing to raise it from $35 to $38 a day.
so we
Okay.
might could up that.
It starts July, or they did pass.
From 35 to 38. Well, that's
We
about,
still lose money, but 38's better than.
yeah, 38's
Better than
better.
going to 33.
Exactly.
Well, that's a little less than 10%.
Take it up to 162.
Yeah, I thought.
You wanna bump
And
that
it was
up?
above, look here, look at our other years, 170, 230, and then 213, 850. And this is an actual, right? The 213, 850?
Yeah, that's actual.
Let's raise that up. What do y'all think? Because we know that it's gone up. The state of Tennessee has passed that,
It's going up first July.
and that 1st July is this budget year we're talking about. Let's raise that up to 160.
What'd you say it took it up to, Kevin? 162, 857.
Let's go to 165.
160 or
We've
165.
been going over the 150.
Put it on 165, then Darryl will stick him 2 or 3 more in there and make sure we get it.
Hey, I know you're making a joke of it, but let me explain something to you. It costs us $49 and some odd change a day to keep an inmate in there, no matter whether they're state or county.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So technically, you're losing money either way you go.
That's right. And it's your policy to not keep any more than we have to because we're losing money on them.
State, like I said, I invite y'all over June the 4th, because the state inspector says, we know you have to keep them, but you have to make an effort, either every 2 weeks or every week, call the state to get your state inmates out. You have to do that. Now, they may call and say, I've got 2 beds. They may call and say, I've got 10 beds. They ain't done it one time since I've been in there. But when you're sitting there with, I've got 82 prisoners a day in there, that's daily. Then this budget year, I'm asking to raise Southern Health Partners contract up to 75 inmates instead of 65, what we got to sit down, and a full-time nurse. We got to do something. I mean, we're still staying below what the budget, way below. Southern Health Partners done a great job. But I've got to go up with the inmate population I got, and we're gonna burn up everything for paying the excess because we're over on inmates.
Let me ask you this question. I saw a news item about Metro's jail has got room now, and they're contacting other counties and saying that we will take your overflow. Did you hear that?
Yeah. Call them and see.
Can these state inmates go there?
I can't get them there. We've tried.
Okay.
I got my jail administrator and FTO sergeant from the jail just come from the class from TCI for the last 2 days. And they're in panic mode. But, like I said, we don't have no option. We don't have the authority to go over here and turn these people out of jail. We can't take them and hook them up to the fence at the penitentiary. And everybody we call are full right now. Some of theirs will, but they'll take from a bigger facility instead of a small facility. Like, I'll give you a for instance, it's like Williamson County or Rutherford County where they got 400 and 500 bed facilities, and they're overcrowded. They will take their people.
Metro will.
Metro will, but they won't take a small county. That's the problem we have with it.
That don't make sense.
It don't.
A head's a head.
Ahead
No matter where it come from.
But they do that to help the bigger agencies that are overcrowded.
That are next door to them also.
Right. Right.
Any other comments on the contracted prisoner boarding? All right, tentatively, we're gonna raise that to 165. Is that all right with everybody?
Got it.
And as we get on through this budget process, we might be able to raise it up more since 213 is our last actual number.
Yeah, and when we see what comes in May.
Okay. Registrar salary supplement, that is for the election commission. That's what they tell us, that as long as we're certified with the state, we get this $16,380 from the state to go back to the election commission. That's what that is. Now, if we were to fall down that we were not certified, then they could withhold that.
The state gives us that to give to the election commission?
That's right. To supplement the salary. You see what it says right there?
Mm-hmm.
And as long as we're doing what the state wants. Now, there was a big push in the state legislature, year before last, and he'll tell you about it, and I don't think it was right for I don't want people that are not citizens to be voting, and I don't want people to be voting twice, and I don't want dead people voting, but I think they went too far of putting it over on us counties to do this and that and other, go buy all new machines, and you're going to have to send letters out to every single person and all that and verify their addresses. They put the legislature, maybe inadvertently, put expenses on us that I don't think were warranted. And then we have the discussions between the election commission and the county commission of the last, a year.
What a salary is.
Yes, and how much it takes to run that office now. I mean, that's what it was, and how much time it takes to do what the state requires. And then when they say, well, if we fall out of this being certified, we're going to lose this $16,000. So I understand that, but, when you have an opportunity to talk to your state legislators, we might ought to voice that to them, that you went too far with that.
Well, if you're going to do it, if you're going to require it, you need to slide more money down.
Up this supplement here. Yeah, make our supplement $32,000, then we might could hire somebody to do that. Okay. But I just want to make that statement about that. That's where that comes from. The next one is other state revenues. Is this just a catch-all?
Well,
It was a big catch-all last year.
316,000 of that was that housing grant.
Okay.
And so we won't get that next year. And then, let's see, the sheriff's JAG grant, that 18 is in there. And then LEAPS is in there for REACH.
Okay.
So I don't know if REACH is getting LEAPS next year or not.
So we're just estimating 10,000 now, and the actual figure for 10-11 was 11.6, so that's a pretty good estimate. Total from the state of Tennessee, 325,780. Any comments? Federal government, Medicaid, $4,500. You see that all this Homeland Security stuff now is evaporated.
Slowly starting to happen, what you said would happen, to grind up.
But now we may have some grant money next year that I don't know about yet. Of course, it'll just be a wash. It'll be in expenditures too.
Go in and out.
And we'll also be adding the 45 to this number, that 269 number that we paid out.
But state or federal grants, in my estimation, are sort of like, getting somebody hooked on something. Even if it's caffeine, it gives you a quick high. Well, we got plenty stuff, plenty money, and then these counties and cities that took Homeland Security money and hired, say, 50 new officers. They said Metro hired 50 new officers with some kind of federal money, and now the mayor's wanting to make them permanent, even though that the money's no longer there.
None of our grant money, though, is paid salaries.
That's right. That's a good policy, and we've done that, because we were afraid of that. Law enforcement grant is not one this year, and then other federal through state, 97,000.
That's reach.
That's REACH, all right? That's where all the REACH grants that they get,
No, that's just one grant. and
That's
I
just
don't-
one grant.
Yeah, and I don't know that she's getting that, but I've got it in there, and I also have it in her expenditures, but if she doesn't.
so it's on both sides. If it doesn't,
If it doesn't, we'll take it out.
take it right out. Okay. There's no ARRAs on this one. Page 11. Other governments. Contributions, we don't have any on that line. It was just a one-time thing, 82,000.
Well, actually, it's been moved into this 48-140. County audit told me to put it all. That's 911. That's what the city and 911 contributes. And actually, Roy's turned in a revised budget, so I may up that one for this year. I gotta go back and see
Okay.
how much more 911 will be.
It might be back up toward 189.
Well, I don't know for sure yet.
Okay.
right now.
Well, we're estimating right now 160,045, correct?
Just the same as last year, but
And that's 911, is that all that's in there?
911, and then that's the city's part that they pay also.
The city's part of 911.
They pay, I think it's 32,000 maybe, 33,000, I can't remember for sure.
All right, and then here's another donation, REACH.
Yeah, that's just reach. And
What
that
does
may-
UW stand for?
United Way.
Okay.
Of course, they didn't, just mark that off, because
They
they
didn't
didn't
get
have
it?
that
Oh, we
last
lost
year.
that.
Yeah, that's just donations, and I also had United Way in
Oh,
it, but,
you just mark United Way off of
yeah,
there,
I'll take that
but
off.
don't mark the 40,000.
Right,
Okay, excuse me.
Unless
I
she
did the same
changes
thing you
it.
did, James. Okay.
and I don't have, like I said, I don't have Reach's budget yet, so I'm just kind
Okay.
of guessing on theirs.
Total estimated revenues. This is the bottom line for the whole thing that we've gone over tonight. 4,770,739, and we increased it by 15,000, so that'd be 754.
785.
785.
Yeah.
785.
How you get that?
You said you increased it, we increased it 15 on that.
15,000?
So 785.
Oh,
You took 15 off of it.
Yeah, you were
okay.
subtracting.
Oh, I subtracted. Oh, yes, yeah, I subtracted it, yeah. Going
We need
wrong.
every dime we get, Mark.
Going
We
wrong way
subtract.
there. Yeah, 785. Any other things we need to discuss about the revenue? All right, let's look
Talking
briefly.
about these reach portions of this, can't we get them off of the county? Just like the senior citizen, let them stand on their own?
Actually, county audit has suggested putting them in their own budget, which I would like to do that too. I
Put
would
them in
like to
their
pull them
own-
out of here because it's so hard to
Like the
keep up
senior
with all.
center
What do
is?
we have to do to do that?
I guess I'll just talk to Melody about it and we can, now, sometimes their money doesn't come in, till later. And that's one reason.
Yeah, I know.
They didn't want to do it.
But that's what got us in the mess before though, ain't it?
But she told me that we can actually do like those tax anticipation notes for them where they can kind of borrow from the county and then pay it back. So,
But if it's
But
in it,
Melody did not say to take them completely out like the senior citizens.
no, she said that we could just put them like in just a set, like a separate.
Just like the
budget.
ambulance budget is.
Well, no,
like solid
completely,
waste.
like solid waste.
Oh, like solid waste?
Yeah.
like solid waste or the school or
Yeah,
the highway department. I wish we had the ambulance service like that too.
And that was talked about last year, did that, just wasn't an interest in doing that?
for reach.
No, for ambulance service.
I don't know.
Kevin talked about wanting to do it, I mean, not Kevin, but,
Doug.
shoot, Collinsworth.
Todd.
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 Yeah, I'd like to do it too.
You know, it made sense.
It just
for-
it would make it easier to see,
Yeah. call, I mean.
It'd be just
in-town
like solid
expense.
waste, instead of having the,
Having to back up 8
having
pages
over here,
to
you
find
got
it.
$420,000 of patients, collections here. You'd have just one budget that had that 420, and then the other and then so many cents out of the,
Right, so many cents out of the tax.
and then when you had people coming here wanting to know why their taxes are X number of
It
cents,
takes this many
they'd
cents to
say, well,
fund
right
this.
here's what the ambulance service is. Do you want your ambulance service
Right.
to be good, or do
This
you
many
want?
cents,
be
it takes this
dragging
many
along
cents
at
to
the
pay
bottom?
this, and this many cents to pay this. It's,
Because when they see county general, they think, oh, that's just the ones down at the courthouse.
Yeah.
that's exactly right.
That's what they think.
It is,
That's what they think.
this is, we were talking about it before the meeting, that this is overwhelming to a regular Joe like me. And you can, the more simple you make it, the easier it is for me to understand, the easier it is for, we passed out copies of this thing into the crowd last year. And, most of us sitting around the table are about halfway confused as we're going through it. And that's what stirs, it's easy to stir when you have confusion.
Well, they look at this and say, so the county's spending $40,000 on the reach? No, but that's, when you look at this.
That's what it looks
it's-
like, because they don't have their own separate budget.
Right.
And I don't know, I don't think we ought to have, every little department ought to have its own budget, but some of the big,
Your major department.
well, and
Reach and ambulance for sure.
the reach needs to come out of it
Reach.
just because,
Well, it's got a target, I mean, so have it clear.
That's right. I'm going to have to go to another meeting, but I'd like for us to, again, go to the back page. The bottom line, because I like to start there and work my way backwards. That gives you a target that you know you're working toward.
I went back and figured up what we budgeted last year and what we're proposing this year, and it was 119,000 difference, which is not that much, really.
119,000
Yeah.
difference. Repeat that now.
you mean on the expenditure side of it?
Just expenditures. I just went back through here and I added up what we budgeted this year, last year.
What we passed the budget.
Right. Original
Okay.
budget for 11-12. And then I went through and added up for 12.
You added up the wish list budget.
Right.
And we just 119,000. But that's good. But still, because of the way that it ended up last year, we wanted to not dip into the, when we got through with our budget negotiations here in the budget committee, we didn't want to dip into the rainy day fund as much as we ended up dipping into it. And therefore, this year, we're even more to hold the same amount of spending. If we just forgot about that 119, said, well, we're just going to eliminate that 119 and give everybody what they had last year, still, we dipped into the tune of $450,000, right?
That'll change a little bit.
What was the budget?
That will change slightly.
Because, expenditures are not going to be as high as what some of them is that.
What was the revenue number for this year? Or what I want to say, what did we budget for our revenue number for this time?
For last year.
Yeah.
5 million, or the year we're in was 5,287,000. So it's down.
528.
Yeah.
5824, isn't it?
No, that was
No, it's 210 to
10,
11.
11.
Oh, right, okay, I'm with you.
So 4, 7, 8, 5, 7, 39. That's 217,000 difference lower this year.
So the revenues are $270,000 estimated, that they're gonna be $270,000 less.
Lower, yeah.
And that's including that 15 that we upped.
5824.
And before Mike left, he said we was gonna, instead of that 450,000, he said 350. I wrote it
Because
down.
this 45,000 is coming back from this tower.
He said at least 350,000.
Plus, yeah, because we'll lower some expenditures, so that's
Right.
what he's going on that.
So the 217 that we come out, that estimate we're gonna be under from the 350 puts us 120,000.
So y'all,
difference. So what I'm saying is, without the massive drop in revenue estimate, and the 119,000 more that we're asking for in expenditures, we'd be right even.
but it still takes a balance in our checking account to
Understand.
keep going.
Yeah, well, I'm saying we'd be, if we didn't have, I guess, if we didn't have the big drop in revenue,
Oh, we'd be in good shape.
estimated revenue, but we don't know what our revenue's gonna be. And we take out the 119,000, if we hold the line on everything, then our fund balance would be the same next year as it is now.
That's right.
Doing what we did last year didn't cause it, the drop in revenue is what caused it.
Well, it caused it to be less than it is.
Caused it to be $48,000 less,
Yeah.
which, that's a lot of difference in that and $450,000. How do you come up with the revenue estimates?
How do we come up with the revenue estimates? Let's
Yeah.
look at last year and then,
I base it on what we've,
Which,
and things like the delinquent taxes, you look over here, Kevin, on when the economy gets bad, more people will not pay, and they're shooting themselves in the foot because they have to pay a penalty. But the delinquencies
if you can't pay it, then you can't pay the penalty either. The penalty doesn't mean anything to you if you can't pay it.
That's right. But see, it says prior year, see?
Yeah. 10 and 11 actual was 133. We're estimating 129.
That's not much difference, but let me look right over here.
That 3,000, that 4,000 there doesn't get you. It's the, where'd that one go? That was $27,000 just in that block.
But let's keep this bottom line in mind. We've got to have some kind of fund balance. We can't evaporate it and then plan on,
We got $1 million sitting in the trustee's office right now.
we need that money.
Cash. We're not broke.
No.
There's $1 million sitting in the
It
trustee's
made
office
me
right now.
mad one time that somebody stood up in a commission meeting and said we were broke.
No, we're not.
Increasing the
There's,
expenditure.
and I understand that money, that a lot of that money is already slated to be spent.
That's right. Just asking for 119,000.
But we're not sitting there with $300,000 in the trustee's office, in the bank,
The,
worried that we're not gonna be able to make our payments.
all right, when do y'all, is the sports banquet gonna bother, who's gonna bother?
It's not gonna bother me.
Is it gonna bother you? Do what?
Radio and media.
Okay.
Well, y'all.
Well, you can set, you can set your recorder here, we'll just let it
We
play.
for sure need to have a meeting.
It won't bother you.
No, 'cause I can't be.
Let's meet next, I can't be here Tuesday either. Let's meet next Thursday, again at 6 o'clock.
It's good for me.
And we'll go over the ones that the county start right here on page 12, just the next page. County Commission, County Mayor, and we will do some of the others that, like county buildings on the next page.
The election office said it'd be the 1st of June before they get their budget.
So we're gonna have to skip election because the election, they can't get their budget till when, the 1st of June?
That's what he's saying.
All right, and then page 12 is the, you want to ask the Register of Deeds to come? That's usually pretty simple. The property assessor's already here on page 14. Can you be ready next week? And then the trustee's office,
Yeah, it won't take long to go over.
and the county court clerk office on page 15, that won't take long. And then we'll get the, we'll stop there though. I think. What do you think? Is that 2 hours worth?
Maybe,
If you don't think that's 2 hours worth, you get somebody else to come in.
okay.
But leave all the courts and the judicial commissioners and, you know, all the courts and them till another night.
Okay.
We might do the ambulance service next week. Would that be all right? Yeah. What do you think?
That'd probably be good.
Ambulance next week?
I'm right here with y'all, whatever you want to.
But I don't want to go much past, 2 or 2.5 hours. I mean,
We
that's,
need to give everybody a time
You're
limit.
driving, we're riding.
the problem comes when we get to having to go back the second time. That's when the problem comes.
Yeah, the first trip through ain't too bad.
Yeah, we just listen.
That's right.
Ask a few questions.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for your attendance, and we will we'll be back next Thursday at 6 o'clock. Well, here's one of the court officers right now. Are you ready with your budget?
Hey, you could ask her what that other courts is, Kevin.
I've been into the audit.
I know.
I can't take
We can't either.
I can't take that much pressure from two committees
Make
and
sure they
whatnot.
get get audited.
Everybody has.
No, they just not
Fees
take
and lieu.
findings.
Okay, and ask
How you, Lynn?
Lynn if she knows what that other court's.
Hi, Lynn.
Yeah.
Lynn,
Ask Glenn what the
you
other
know what
courts
this
are.
I
is.
want you to know that I was down here once.
Well, that's
I went home, came
Our
back.
people signed the register and went home.
Other salaries and wages, 1775, 2160,
But I
$20,000.
certainly
Thank you very much.
took good family.
We're gonna get on him next.
I think that, how's your little mama?
She's doing all right.
Is she all
She
right?
is, yes.
Do you know what this is?
What,
Other
honey?
courts in the county. Do you have any idea what this?
What is that? That says chancery.
Well, no, this
Oh,
is
no, it says
Chancery.
other courts that come into Cannon
We just
County.
didn't.
What other court is there that would pay a fee into Cannon County
besides
and fines?
Chancery and circuit and
Nothing,
session.
just circuit and general
Is there any
sessions.
federal
and
court fines that would come to our county?
I'll have to ask trustee where they're
See,
getting
this
that.
other line here is proceeds from confiscated property like it was a federal thing.
That could be the
I'd go through the sheriff's department.
I started to say, you know, what happens there?
We don't confiscate
You
anything.
not
Yeah, I know.
seize anything?
I haven't never known of any other, a fine.
I'll try not to have my mouth full of marbles next week.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
It don't feel too good.
Well, I'll ask Wayne now.
Really? Give me a second shot.
Yeah, I don't really, Diane, we don't have anything come in
No,
from any
I
other
don't know where half this money comes from. I just estimated it. I don't ever know where it comes, but.